Hey guys, LevelCap here, and today I'm excited to show you some hands-on time with Watch Dogs Legion. This will give you guys an exclusive first look at the game. A big thank you to Ubisoft for making this possible and for sponsoring the video. If you want to check out the game for yourself, click the link in the video description. This gameplay footage you're watching was captured from a work-in-progress build of the game, so you may notice some slight changes here or there at launch. Now, for anyone who still hasn't played a Watch Dogs game, it's a series in which you play as an agent of DedSec, an underground hacker organization fighting back against widespread public surveillance. The gameplay revolves around using elite hacking abilities, stealth infiltration, and, well, of course, using guns as well. You can access cameras, computers, and other electronic devices remotely to unlock new areas. They can be used to create distractions, incapacitate enemies, and more. Now, the big draw of Legion, the new game, is that unlike past Watch Dogs games, there's no central character. You don't play as one specific person. You play essentially as everyone. The game randomly generates NPCs you can recruit to DedSec. Recruiting people gives you access to different skills, abilities, weapons, and equipment. It also lets you pick and choose what kind of character you play as. Do you want to be a stereotypical tough guy, or do you want to break the mold and go with somebody a little bit more unique? The way you approach missions and the tone of your interactions with NPCs also changes depending on the character you play. For example, if you need to sneak up to a construction site, using a character dressed as a construction worker will help you avoid detection. Likewise, if you need to bust into a police station or government agency, using someone from law enforcement is like having a skeleton key to get into the place. Legion allows you to play as a super assassin, an elite hacker, a parkour expert, a karate master, without having to basically fit all of those roles into a single ridiculous character. Not having a central character also means you get to put your own personality into the story. It's like having all the benefits of a silent protagonist with none of the downsides. Now, during my time with the game, I got to test out some of the various weapons. You can choose lethal or non-lethal guns. Areas that I would have normally avoided with non-lethal weapons turned into a bloody arena when picking lethal weapons. It's really interesting in how open the game is in the way you approach it. You can basically fly a drone in and hack your way through a mission if you want. You can sneak in with the right attire or the right character. You can find clever ways of getting into a place, like using a crane to lower yourself into the mission area right next to the objective, or you can go in guns blazing and just take everybody out Rambo style. Not many games give you this actual level of freedom, and it really is a good feeling when your plan works out. Legion also builds on the hacking scene in the previous games, but without massively changing the formula. If you see a camera, you can hack it to get a higher vantage point. From there, you can hack other devices within line of sight, and eventually break into secure locations without manual intervention. However, switching characters really adds that new variable to the franchise's hacking formula by adding social engineering. This is actually a real-world tactic where in some cases hackers lie to, say, tech support and people to extract information out of them, like social media usernames, passwords, banking info, and more. Not only can you hack technology in Legion, but you can essentially hack the NPCs themselves. I really like this because it's actually very much like real-world hacking. Oftentimes, exploiting a company's biggest weaknesses are its personnel. Interacting with people tends to be one of the easier ways to manipulate people into telling you what you want to know from them. Now, as for the game's setting, Legion takes place in London. And if you've played a Watch Dogs game before, then it should come as no surprise that the world is incredibly well realized. Ubisoft have made something of a name for themselves with their open world games regarding the scale and depth of their environments, and Legion is no exception. All the major landmarks are represented with accuracy and great detail, and I'm sure it'll be an interesting game for London natives especially to walk around in. Also, as an American, it's nice to play a game that makes you drive on the other side of the road. Considering that many of the open world driving games are based in areas where driving on the right side of the road is the norm, it's funny how switching it up, although a simple change, really does make me feel like I'm in a new environment or a foreign place. It's certainly a small but much appreciated touch to the immersion. Driving itself feels refined as well. There's a mix of electric and gas-powered vehicles ranging from standard sedans and vans to sports cars, APCs, and motorcycles. And as you might expect, they all handle quite differently. Now, my time with the game was a bit limited, so I didn't get a chance to try out every single vehicle, but I especially like the electric cars, the feel and the sound. In real life, electric cars don't have any engine noise, really, and Hollywood will often go through all these extra lengths to make electric cars sound more macho or beefy in terms of the amount of noise that they make. But Ubisoft stuck to a balance by having a lot of cool sounds when braking and flooring with electric vehicles, but keeping them very quiet when driving around. It's just nice to see a game handling electric cars in a manner that feels a bit more realistic. Now, during my play session, I was able to complete several different missions, and I thought I'd break down a few of the missions for you just to give you a better idea of what Legion's gameplay will be like. In the first mission, I had to download a lab's location from a specific NPC's phone. They were hanging out in a building complex located near a river, so my only point of entry was basically the front door. Instead of walking in and dealing with the guards, I decided to hack my way in. Unfortunately though, the target was out of range of the nearest camera to initiate a hack, and that's when I noticed that there was basically a drone pad in the complex. Throughout the city, there are drones flying around, moving stuff, making deliveries, etc. If you hack one of their landing pads, you can request a drone. So for the mission, I hacked the pad, I called in a drone, and flew the drone close enough to download the data. I could have also used a spider bot to do the hack or gotten close enough physically to do the hack myself. These are just some of the fun choices you get to make during each mission. What kind of playstyle or infiltration tactics make the most sense to you? Another mission tasks you with stealing an ambulance. Once I got to the mission area, it was obvious that it would be a playground for me to explore. I could hack my way in, sneak my way in, or go in guns blazing. For this one, I decided to sneak my way in, but also take out the guards. I equipped a character with lethal weapons and snuck in. The cool thing is, once you commit to a plan of attack, none of the other options really disappear along the way. I could still hack the environmental hazards to incapacitate the guards, or I could even hide long enough for the guards to drop their alert and hack my way through the rest of the mission if I wanted to. I ended up doing a little bit of both to complete the mission. I hacked the gas mains to blow when the enemies walked by, and I did a bit of scoping out of the place with the cameras and finished off the remaining guards with my guns. In the end, I drove away clean with the ambulance and completed the mission. Now, when it comes to the rest of the new stuff in Legion, especially when we're talking about visuals, I'd say it's a pretty nice upgrade from the second game. The city of London is more detailed and well lit than San Francisco was in Watch Dogs 2. The interiors also feel more fleshed out and lived in. The quality of randomly generated NPCs is also really impressive. They look and sound like cohesive characters. Even the clothes they wear when you first encounter them reflect their personality to a certain extent. It's clear that Ubisoft put a lot of time and care into this system. Overall, I gotta say I'm excited to play the full game when it launches. The Watch Dogs franchise has only gotten better with each release, and it feels like Legion is the most well-realized version of the original vision for this game. If you haven't tried out any of the Watch Dogs games before, Legion is definitely worth getting into, and if you have, well, I'd say Legion is shaping up to be one of the best entries in the franchise so far. Thanks again to Ubisoft for giving me an exclusive first look at the game and for sponsoring this video. As always, guys, thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time. This is LevelCap signing off.